Dr. Lisa Martinez wiped the dust from her gloves and looked at the strange symbols carved into the ancient stone wall. The alien ruins on planet Kepler 442c were old, maybe thousands of years old, but these symbols looked different from the rest. They looked newer somehow. "Jake, come look at this," she called to Captain Jake Morrison, who was checking his scanner readings near the entrance of the buried temple. Jake walked over, his boots crunching on the dry ground. The planet had been dead for a long time, with no air to breathe and no water anywhere. Their research ship, the Horizon's Edge, sat outside the ruins like a metal island in an endless desert of red rock. "What did you find now, Doc?" Jake asked. He was a good captain, but he did not care much for old alien stuff. He just wanted to finish their survey and get back to human space. Lisa pointed at the wall. "These symbols are different. Look at this. 1. She traced her finger along a carving that looked like a long, thin shape with smaller shapes around it. "This looks like a spaceship, a human spaceship." Jake laughed. "Come on, Lisa. These aliens never met humans. This place was dead before humans even learned to make fire." But Lisa was not listening. She was studying more symbols, taking pictures with her scanner. The more she looked, the more excited she got. "Jake, look at this symbol here. And this one. They tell a story." The symbols showed a great battle in space. There were many small ships fighting against larger, darker ones, but in the center of it all was one special ship, bigger than the others, with strange markings around it that seemed to show it moving in impossible ways. "The aliens who made these carvings saw something," Lisa said, her voice getting faster as she worked out the meaning. "They saw a human ship, a very special human ship that could do things other ships could not do." Jake looked closer at the symbols. Even he had to admit they looked like spaceships. Maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe alien art just looks like our ships by accident. Lisa shook her head. "No, look at this." She pointed to symbols that looked like numbers and letters. These matched the old human military codes from the First Contact War, the war from 150 years ago. The First Contact War was when humans first met hostile aliens. It was a terrible time when Earth almost lost everything. Many ships were destroyed, and many brave people died fighting to keep humanity alive. "You think this shows a battle from the First Contact War?" Jake asked. He was starting to sound interested now. "Not just any battle," Lisa said. "Look at these symbols around the big ship. They show it appearing and disappearing. The aliens thought this ship was like a ghost. It would show up in battle, fight, then vanish like it was never there." Jake read the symbols Lisa was pointing to. His face went pale. "Lisa, what ship was the most advanced one we had during the First Contact War?" Lisa knew the answer right away. Every human knew the story. "The UES Valiant Dawn. It was our best prototype ship. It had new quantum drives and the smartest computer systems we ever built. But it disappeared during the last big battle. No one ever found it. And everyone assumed it was destroyed," Jake said quietly. "But what if it wasn't?" Lisa asked. "What if the quantum drives did something strange? What if the ship didn't get destroyed but got lost somewhere else?" Jake looked at the alien symbols again. The story they told was clear enough. A great human ship that appeared like magic, fought impossible battles, then disappeared into the dark between stars. "Even if this is real," Jake said, "that was 150 years ago. The ship and crew would be long dead by now." Lisa was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Unless the quantum drives did something to time itself, unless the ship got stuck somewhere outside normal space and time." They worked for 3 more hours, taking pictures and recording everything. The alien ruins told more of the story. The ghost ship did not fight just once. It appeared in many battles, always when things looked hopeless for the smaller ships. It would arrive, turn the battle around, then fade away like smoke. The aliens who carved these symbols were not enemies of humans. They were watchers, observers who saw the battles from far away. They wrote down what they saw because it amazed them. A ship that could be in many places at once. A ship that fought like it knew where every enemy would be before they moved. When they got back to their own ship, Lisa sent her report to Earth right away, but she also did something else. She checked the military databases for any strange reports from the past few months. What she found made her hands shake. 3 different human colonies had reported seeing strange energy readings at the edge of their space. Readings that matched no known human or alien technology. The readings appeared for a few minutes, then disappeared completely. 2 merchant ships had picked up radio signals in old military code, but when they tried to answer, no, one replied. And just last week, a patrol ship near the outer colonies had reported seeing a large vessel on their long-range scanners. When they moved to investigate, they found nothing but empty space. Lisa showed Jake what she had found. He read through the reports twice, then looked at her with serious eyes. "You think it's the same ship?" he asked. "I think the Valiant Dawn never really disappeared," Lisa said. "I think it's been out there all this time watching and waiting, and I think something is happening that might bring it back." Neither of them knew that far away in the dark space between stars, alien warships were gathering. The Zephyrian Empire was preparing for their greatest invasion ever. They had studied human technology and found it weak. They had counted human ships and found them few, but they had never heard the legend of the ghost ship. They did not know that some legends are real, and some guardians never stop watching over the people they swore to protect. The symbols on the alien wall had told the truth. The Valiant Dawn was still out there, somewhere between the spaces where normal ships could go, and it was getting ready to remind everyone why some legends should never be forgotten. 3 months after Dr. Lisa Martinez found the alien ruins, the worst fears of humanity came true. The Zephyrian Empire attacked without warning. Commander Amy Rodriguez stood on the bridge of her ship, the UES Defender, watching the battle unfold. On her main screen, the human colony on New Denver was burning. Zephyrian warships, twice the size of human vessels, poured deadly energy beams into the planet's cities. "How many ships do they have?" Amy asked her weapons officer. "At least 50. In this attack group alone," came the reply. "And our scouts report more fleets moving toward other colonies." Amy's small fleet of 12 human ships was trying to help the people escape from New Denver, but the Zephyrians were too strong. Every time a human ship got close to the planet, 3 alien vessels would attack it. The human ships had to retreat or be destroyed. "Commander, we're getting a distress call from Transport Ship 7, said Lieutenant Ben Parker from his communication station. "They have 500 civilians on board, but their engines are damaged. They can't escape." Amy looked at the battle display. Transport Ship 7 was trapped between 2 large Zephyrian cruisers. The alien ships were moving closer, ready to destroy the helpless transport. "All ships move to protect Transport 7, Amy ordered, but she knew it was hopeless. Her ships were already damaged from the fighting, and the Zephyrians had too, many vessels. The human ships moved toward the transport, firing their weapons at the alien cruisers. The Zephyrians fired back with weapons that could punch through human shields like they were made of paper. Then something impossible happened. Lieutenant Parker's communication equipment started picking up a signal. It was weak and broken, like a radio transmission from very far away. But the code was human military code, very old human military code. "Commander, I'm getting something strange," Ben said. "It's a transmission, but it's using codes from the First Contact War, codes that are 150 years old." Amy frowned. "That's impossible. No one uses those codes anymore. Are you sure it's not just interference?" Ben listened more carefully to his equipment. The signal was getting stronger. "No, ma'am. This is definitely a message, but I can't understand all of it. The code is too old." On the main screen, Transport Ship 7 was about to be destroyed. The Zephyrian cruisers had their weapons ready to fire. Then the impossible signal got much stronger. Ben could hear words now, spoken in a calm, professional voice. "This is Protocol 7. Final stand authorization confirmed. Moving to assist." Amy felt a chill run down her back. Protocol 7 was a legend from the First Contact War. It was supposed to be the call sign of the most secret human ship, the ship that appeared when everything seemed lost. "Ben, where is that transmission coming from?" she asked. Ben checked his instruments twice. "That's the strange part, Commander. According to my equipment, it's coming from empty space. There's nothing out there. But even as he said it, something began to appear on their long-range scanners. It was big, much bigger than any human ship Amy had ever seen, and it was moving, at a speed that should have been impossible. The Zephyrian cruisers fired their weapons at Transport Ship 7. The deadly energy beams should have destroyed the human ship instantly. Instead, something else appeared between the transport and the alien weapons. It was a massive human warship, but unlike any ship Amy had ever seen. Its hull was dark and seemed to shimmer like it was not completely solid. Strange lights ran along its sides, and its shape seemed to change slightly when Amy looked directly at it. The Zephyrian weapons hit the mysterious ship and simply disappeared. They did not bounce off or explode. They just vanished like they had never existed. "What in the name of Earth is that?" Amy whispered. The ghost ship, for that's what it had to be, fired its own weapons at the Zephyrian cruisers. But these were not normal weapons. Beams of energy that seemed to bend and twist through space struck the alien ships. The Zephyrian shields, which had easily stopped human weapons, offered no protection at all. Both alien cruisers exploded in seconds. Ben was listening to more transmissions now. The old military codes were clearer. "Commander, they're identifying themselves. They say they are the UES Valiant Dawn." Amy's blood went cold. Every human knew that name. It was the legendary prototype ship that had disappeared during the first Contact War. The ship that was supposed to be humanity's greatest weapon, lost forever in the final battle against the first alien invasion. "That's impossible," Amy said. "The Valiant Dawn was destroyed 150 years ago." But on her screen, the impossible ship was very real. It moved like no ship she had ever seen, appearing in one place and then suddenly being somewhere else entirely. It fought the Zephyrian fleet, with weapons that seemed to come from dreams. More Zephyrian ships moved to attack the ghost ship. They fired everything they had at it. The mysterious vessel simply faded away like smoke, and all the alien weapons passed through empty space. Then it appeared behind the Zephyrian ships and destroyed them with a single shot each. "Commander," Ben said, his voice shaking with excitement, "I'm getting a clear transmission now. Someone wants to talk to you." Amy straightened her uniform and nodded. "Put it through." The voice that came through the speakers was human, but there was something strange about it. It sounded tired, like someone who had been fighting for a very long time. "This is Captain Ryan Hayes of the UES Valiant Dawn. Commander Rodriguez, please move your ships to safety. We will handle the remaining Zephyrian forces." Amy found her voice. "Captain Hayes, this is impossible. The Valiant Dawn disappeared 150 years ago. How are you here?" There was a pause. Then Captain Hayes said, "Commander, time works differently when you exist between spaces. We have been fighting this war for longer than you know, but that is a story for later. Right now, your people need to be saved." The ghost ship moved through the remaining Zephyrian fleet like death itself. Alien ships that had seemed unstoppable were destroyed in moments. The few that tried to escape found that the Valiant Dawn could somehow be in several places at once, cutting off every route. In less than 10 minutes, the entire Zephyrian attack force was gone. Amy watched in amazement as the legendary ship moved toward her small fleet. It was real. The ghost ship was real, and it had just saved New Denver Colony, but she had so many questions. How had the ship survived for 150 years? Where had it been? And most importantly, why was it here now? The answers would come soon. But first, there were more colonies under attack, and the ghost ship had work to do. Captain Hayes's voice came through the radio one more time. "Commander, tell Earth that the Valiant Dawn has returned. Tell them the legends were true, and tell them that humanity has guardians they never knew about." Then the ghost ship faded away again, leaving only empty space, and a lot of very confused human officers trying to understand what they had just seen. Admiral Kate Sullivan had not slept in 3 days. The reports coming from the outer colonies were all the same. Human ships destroyed, planets burning, thousands of people dead or missing. The Zephyrian Empire was crushing humanity with ease. She stood in the command center of Earth Defense Station, looking at the big screen that showed the galaxy. Red marks showed where the aliens had attacked. There were too many red marks. "Admiral, we have another report from the Terra Nova system," said her aide, Colonel Frank Davis. "The Zephyrians have surrounded the planet. Our fleet there is outnumbered 10-1. Kate rubbed her tired eyes. "How many ships can we send to help them?" "None," Frank said quietly. "Every ship we have is already fighting somewhere else. We're losing on every front." Kate stared at the screen. Humanity had fought hard to spread across the stars, building colonies and exploring new worlds. Now it looked like it would all be taken away by aliens who wanted to wipe humans from existence. "Admiral," called Chief Engineer Danny Wright from his station, "I'm getting some very strange readings from the Terra Nova system. There's something happening there." Kate walked over to Danny's console. The young engineer was one of the smartest people on her staff, and he looked confused by what his instruments were telling him. "What kind of readings?" Kate asked. Danny pointed at his screen. "Energy signatures that don't match any known technology, and the quantum distortion levels are off the charts. It's like something is bending space itself." Before Kate could answer, a new voice came through the communication system. It was Commander Rodriguez from the battle at New Denver. "Earth Command, this is Commander Rodriguez. You need to know what happened here. The ghost ship is real. The Valiant Dawn is real, and it saved us." Kate felt her heart skip. She had read the reports from New Denver, but she had not believed them. A ship from 150 years ago appearing to fight aliens? It sounded impossible. "Amy, are you sure about what you saw?" Kate asked. "Admiral, I watched it happen. The Valiant Dawn destroyed an entire Zephyrian fleet in minutes. It moves like nothing I've ever seen. It can be in several places at once, and their weapons pass right through it when it wants them to." Danny was listening to the conversation while watching his instruments. Suddenly his eyes went wide. "Admiral, I'm detecting the same energy signature, a Terra Nova that Commander Rodriguez reported at New Denver. Something big is happening there." Kate turned to the main screen. The Terra Nova system was showing massive energy readings. Whatever was happening there was bigger than anything they had seen before. Then a new voice came through the speakers. It was calm and professional, but there was something about it that made everyone in the command center stop what they were doing. "Earth Command, this is Captain Ryan Hayes of the UES Valiant Dawn. Request permission to speak with Admiral Sullivan." Kate felt like she was dreaming. Captain Ryan Hayes was a legend from the history books. He was the commander of humanity's most advanced warship, lost in the final battle of the First Contact War. He should have been dead for over a century. "This is Admiral Sullivan. Captain Hayes, I need to know how this is possible. The Valiant Dawn was destroyed 150 years ago." There was a pause. Then Captain Hayes spoke again. "Admiral, that's not exactly true. We weren't destroyed, we were displaced. Our quantum drives malfunctioned during the battle and threw us outside normal space and time. We've been fighting a war you never knew about." Kate looked around the command center. Everyone was listening to the impossible conversation. "What kind of war?" she asked. "There are things that live in the spaces between dimensions, Admiral. Things that want to destroy not just humanity, but all life in this reality. We've been holding them back for 150 years, but we've also been watching over human space, protecting it when we could." Danny was frantically working at his console. "Admiral, the quantum readings from Terra Nova are incredible. If this ship really has been existing outside normal space-time, it would explain these energy patterns." On the main screen, they could see the battle at Terra Nova changing. The red marks showing Zephyrian ships were disappearing one by one. Something was destroying the alien fleet faster than should have been possible. "Captain Hayes," Kate said, "what exactly happened to you and your crew?" "The quantum drives changed us, Admiral. We exist in multiple dimensions at the same time. Now, we can see things that normal humans cannot see. We can be in many places at once. Time moves differently for us. What feels like a day to you might be a year for us, or the other way around." Kate tried to understand what she was hearing. "Are you still human?" "In the ways that matter, yes. We still remember why we fight. We still care about protecting Earth and the colonies. But we're also something more now. We've learned to use technologies that don't exist in your dimension. Danny looked up from his console. Admiral, I'm reading weapon signatures from Terra Nova that are beyond anything in our databases. The energy outputs are impossible according to normal physics. The voice of Captain Hayes continued. We've had 150 years to adapt our technology, Admiral. We've learned from the entities we fight in other dimensions. Our weapons can phase through normal matter, exist in multiple realities at once, and strike targets across different timelines. Kate felt overwhelmed. Why are you helping us now? Why reveal yourselves? Because the Zephyrians are not just a threat to this dimension. Their aggression has attracted the attention of the things we've been fighting. If they succeed in destroying human civilization, it will create a weakness that those entities can exploit to invade this reality. On the screen, the last of the red marks at Terra Nova disappeared. The entire Zephyrian fleet was gone. Captain Hayes, I need to understand what we're dealing with. Can you come to Earth? Can we meet in person? There was another pause. Admiral, physical contact between our dimensions and yours is complicated, but I can show you what we've become. Look at your screens. Danny's instruments went wild. Energy readings spiked beyond anything they had ever recorded. And then, just outside Earth's orbit, something appeared. The UES Valiant Dawn materialized slowly like a ghost becoming solid. It was huge, much larger than any ship in the human fleet. Its hull seemed to shift and change, sometimes solid, sometimes transparent. Lights moved along its surface in patterns that hurt to look at directly. My God, Kate whispered. What have you become? We became what we had to become to protect humanity, Captain Hayes said. We became guardians that exist beyond the normal laws of reality. And now, Admiral, we're going to teach the Zephyrians why they should never have threatened our people. The ghost ship faded from view again, but Kate knew it was still there, watching and waiting. Humanity had guardians they never knew about, and those guardians were about to remind the galaxy why humans should never be underestimated. Colonel Sam Mitchell watched his tactical display with growing amazement. In just 2 weeks, the war had completely changed. The Zephyrian Empire, which had been crushing human forces everywhere, was now retreating from system after system. The ghost ship was destroying entire alien fleets faster than anyone thought possible. But the strangest part was how it fought. The Valiant Dawn did not follow any known rules of space combat. Sir, we just got another report from the Centauri system, said Lieutenant Kelly Brooks from her communication station. The Zephyrian fleet there is gone. All 37 ships destroyed in less than an hour. Sam shook his head. How many ships did we lose? None, sir. The Valiant Dawn fought alone. Our ships never even got close to the battle. Dr. Nina Foster looked up from her computer where she had been studying quantum physics equations for days. She was the best scientist the military had, brought in to try to understand how the ghost ship worked. Colonel, I think I'm starting to understand what happened to that ship, she said. The quantum drives didn't just move them through space. They moved them through the basic structure of reality itself. Sam walked over to her workstation. Explain that in simple terms, Doc. Nina pointed to a diagram on her screen. Think of normal space like the surface of a lake. Ships move across the surface. But the Valiant Dawn fell through the surface into the water below. They exist in the deeper layers of reality that we can't normally see or reach. And that gives them their strange abilities. Exactly. They can attack from directions that don't exist in our normal 3 dimensions. They can be in multiple places at once because place means something different when you exist in quantum space. And their weapons work on levels of reality that normal shields can't protect against. Sam tried to understand what she was saying. So they're fighting a war we can't even see. Not just fighting in it, Nina said. They told Admiral Sullivan they've been protecting us from things that live between dimensions, creatures that want to destroy all normal reality. Before Sam could respond, alarms started ringing throughout the command center. Lieutenant Brooks was frantically working at her station. Colonel, we're getting reports from the Vega system. It's not just Zephyrians this time. There's something else there. Something our sensors can barely detect. Sam looked at the main screen. The readings from Vega were unlike anything he had ever seen. Energy patterns that made no sense, movements that seemed to break the laws of physics. "Sir," Brooks continued, "Captain Hayes is requesting to speak with you directly." "Put him through." The familiar voice of the ghost ship's captain came through the speakers. But this time he sounded different, more urgent. "Colonel Mitchell, we have a serious problem at Vega. The Zephyrians' retreat has opened a weakness in dimensional space. Something is trying to break through from the void between realities." Sam felt cold. "What kind of something?" "The kind of thing my crew has been fighting for 150 years. Entities that exist in the spaces between dimensions. They feed on the destruction of organized matter and energy. If they get through, they won't just destroy human colonies. They'll start unraveling the basic structure of this universe." Dr. Foster was listening to every word. She quickly typed commands into her computer. "Colonel, I'm detecting massive quantum distortions at Vega. Something is definitely trying to break through from another dimension." Captain Hayes continued talking. "We need to stop this breakthrough, but it's going to require everything we have. And Colonel, there's something else you need to know. Fighting these entities changes you. Every battle against them pushes us further from normal human existence." "What do you mean?" Sam asked. "My crew and I have been holding the line between realities for over a century. Each time we fight these things, we become less like the humans we used to be and more like the forces we battle against. We're still human in our hearts, but our bodies and minds have evolved into something else." Dr. Foster looked up from her readings. "Captain Hayes, are you saying you're becoming less human each time you fight?" "Yes, Dr. Foster. We exist in quantum superposition now. We experience time in all directions at once. We can see probability, streams, and alternate realities. But the cost is that we're losing our connection to the normal world." Sam felt a chill. "Are you asking for help?" "No, Colonel. We're asking for permission to do what needs to be done. To stop these entities, we'll have to use weapons and tactics that will push us even further from humanity. After this battle, we might not be able to communicate with normal humans anymore." The tactical display showed more strange readings from Vega. Whatever was trying to break through was getting stronger. "Captain Hayes, what exactly are you planning to do?" "We're going to collapse the dimensional barrier around Vega. It will trap the entities trying to break through, but it will also trap us in quantum space permanently. We'll become pure energy beings, existing only to guard the barriers between realities." Sam looked around the command center. Everyone was listening to the conversation. The ghost ship crew was offering to sacrifice the last of their humanity to protect everyone else. "Captain, there has to be another way." "There isn't, Colonel. This is what we became the Valiant Dawn to do. We've been preparing for this moment. For 150 years, Dr. Foster was studying her instruments. Colonel, the dimensional distortions are getting worse. If something doesn't stop this breakthrough soon, the damage to our reality could spread to other star systems." Sam made the hardest decision of his military career. "Captain Hayes, you have permission to do whatever is necessary to protect humanity." "Thank you, Colonel. It has been an honor to serve alongside humans for all these years. Please remember us not as the monsters we became, but as the people who chose to guard the darkness so others could live in the light." The quantum readings from Vega suddenly spiked beyond anything Dr. Foster's instruments could measure. Space itself seemed to bend and twist as the Valiant Dawn prepared for its final battle. "Colonel," Captain Hayes said, his voice already sounding distant, "tell Earth that the void between realities will be guarded. Tell them that some legends become eternal." The communication ended. On the tactical display, the strange readings from Vega flared once, then went completely quiet. Sam stared at the screen for a long time. The ghost ship was gone, but somehow he knew it was still out there, fighting battles in spaces between spaces, protecting reality itself from things that wanted to tear it apart. The Zephyrians would never know how close they had come to destroying not just humanity, but the entire universe. And they would never know that their defeat had cost humanity its greatest guardians. Fleet Admiral Tony Garcia stood on the command deck of the U.S. Liberty, watching the largest Zephyrian fleet ever assembled move toward Earth. The alien emperor himself was leading this final attack, bringing over 2,000 warships to destroy humanity's homeworld once and for all. Admiral, their lead ships will reach Earth's outer defenses in 6 hours, reported Captain Lisa Young from the navigation station. We have 400 ships to defend the planet. The odds are not good. Tony looked at the tactical display showing the massive alien fleet. After weeks of defeats across the galaxy, the Zephyrian Empire had decided to end the war by destroying Earth itself. They blamed their losses on human trickery and wanted to make sure no human survived to trick them again. Sir, we're getting reports from the outer sensor stations, said Commander Pete Johnson. They're detecting strange energy readings between us and the Zephyrian fleet. The same quantum signatures we saw before the ghost ship appeared. Tony felt a mixture of hope and sadness. The Valiant Dawn had not been seen since the battle at Vega 2 weeks ago. Many people thought the legendary ship was finally gone forever, but the energy readings suggested otherwise. Dr. Martinez, who had first discovered the alien ruins that told the ghost ship's story, was working at a special console Tony had brought to his command ship. She looked up from her readings with excitement and worry in her eyes. Admiral, something big is happening in the quantum layers of space. The readings are unlike anything we've recorded before. It's like reality itself is being reshaped. Before Tony could respond, space in front of the Zephyrian fleet began to shimmer and bend. What appeared was not just one ship, but dozens of versions of the Valiant Dawn, each one slightly different, existing in the same space but in different quantum states. The voice that came through the communication system was Captain Hayes, but it sounded strange now. It echoed as if many versions of him were speaking at the same time. Fleet Admiral Garcia, this is the Valiant Dawn. We exist across multiple realities now, but our mission remains the same. Protect humanity. Protect Earth. Tony tried to understand what he was seeing. The ghost ship was everywhere and nowhere, appearing as solid one moment and transparent the next. Captain Hayes, what happened to you at Vega? We stopped the dimensional breach, Admiral, but the cost was our connection to single-point existence. We are now spread across all possible realities where the Valiant Dawn exists. We are every version of ourselves that ever was or could be. Dr. Martinez was frantically studying her instruments. Admiral, they're not just in our reality anymore. They exist in quantum superposition across infinite timelines. They're every possible version of the Valiant Dawn from every possible history. The Zephyrian Emperor, seeing the impossible ships appearing before his fleet, ordered his vessels to attack with everything they had. Thousands of alien weapons fired at the ghost ships. The weapons passed through some versions of the Valiant Dawn while hitting others. But every time a version of the ship was destroyed, 2 more appeared to take its place. The ghost ship had become something beyond destruction because it existed in too many realities to kill them all. Captain Hayes spoke again, his voice now coming from everywhere at once. Emperor Zephys, you made a mistake when you threatened our people. You thought you were fighting one small human species, but you're fighting every possible version of humanity that exists across all realities. The Valiant Dawn began its attack. But this was not like the previous battles. The ship struck the Zephyrian fleet from angles that did not exist in normal space. Weapons fired backwards through time to hit ships before they could deploy their shields. Energy beams curved through other dimensions to strike targets from inside their own hulls. Admiral, Dr. Martinez said with wonder in her voice, they're fighting this battle across multiple timelines simultaneously. They're not just stopping this invasion, they're preventing every possible version of this invasion across all realities. Tony watched in amazement as the massive Zephyrian fleet was torn apart by forces that operated outside the normal laws of physics. Ships that had seemed unstoppable were destroyed by weapons that struck from the future, the past, and from dimensions that had no names. The Zephyrian Emperor tried to retreat, but found that every direction he turned, another version of the Valiant Dawn was waiting. The ghost ship had surrounded his fleet across all possible escape routes in all possible realities. In less than an hour, the entire alien armada was gone. Not just destroyed, but erased from the quantum framework of space itself. They had not just been defeated in this reality, but in every reality where they had threatened humanity. Captain Hayes's voice came through the speakers one final time. Admiral Garcia, the Zephyrian threat is ended across all timelines. Their empire will never again have the power to threaten any human world in any reality. Tony found his voice. Captain, will we see you again? We exist now as guardians of the barriers between realities, Admiral. We watch over all possible versions of humanity from our position outside normal space-time. You will not see us, but we will always be there when humanity faces threats that normal physics cannot handle. Dr. Martinez looked up from her console. Admiral, the quantum readings are stabilizing. They're moving back to the spaces between dimensions. The multiple versions of the Valiant Dawn began to fade from view, but not before Tony heard Captain Hayes speak one last time. Tell Earth that the legend lives on. Tell them that some guardians become eternal. And tell them that no matter how far humans spread across the stars, no matter what dangers they face, they will never be alone. We are always watching. The ghost ships disappeared, leaving only empty space where the greatest Zephyrian fleet had been. Tony stood quietly for a moment, then turned to his crew. Signal all ships. Send a message to Earth. The war is over. Humanity is safe. As the human fleet headed home, Dr. Martinez made one final entry in her log. The UES Valiant Dawn has become something beyond a ship, beyond a crew, beyond even a legend. They have become the eternal guardians of human civilization, protecting us from threats we cannot see, from places we cannot go. They gave up their humanity to ensure that humanity itself would survive forever. Years later, when children asked about the strange light sometimes seen between the stars, their parents would tell them about the ghost ship that watches over humanity. They would say that some legends are true and some guardians never stop protecting the people they love, even when it costs them everything they used to be. The Valiant Dawn was out there somewhere, in the spaces between spaces, making sure that humanity's light would never go out.